Hello and welcome to another episode of Spotlight Indie. Today I am super excited to be joined by the ever wonderful and lovely Frasier, but also by Kerstin Espinosa Rosero. Thank you so much for joining us, Kerstin. It is an absolute thrill to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Not at all. And how are you doing today? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm astoundingly good despite it being so cold.
Excellent.
Um,
Very good to hear that. We were talking before we started recording about the headphones being mood colors on your like a mood ring on your face and your head. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that as we go in case it gets like completely black. We'll just lay off the really hard journalism questions. Frasier, how are you doing?
Yeah, I am also astoundingly good considering how cold it is. I can't believe how cold it is. It feels like, so I have a little one and he's just discovered Frozen and I feel like it's my fault because I feel like basically I've brought that cold through the screen into the world. So I apologize, Kerstin. It's me to blame for why you're so
it's all
chilly.
your fault. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah,
Manifesting.
blame me. Everybody
Yeah,
who's cold watching this, yeah.
just let it go.
Leave it in. Yeah, leave me a comment down below that just says "let it go." I'll get that energy. That would be great.
Good. We're fueling the flame war in the comments already, and we're like 2 minutes in. It's all good. Kerstin, so again, thank you for joining us. For anybody who doesn't know you, would you like to just give a brief introduction to yourself and your books?
Yeah, sure. So I go by Kerstin Espinosa Rosero. It's weird to say I go by because that's actually my name. Like I go by K.E. Rosero sometimes. I wish I had a better system for when I go by K.E. Rosero because I think that's caused confusion in the past, but I think it's mostly to save space. So sometimes I'm K.E. Rosero, and rest assured that's still me. I'm actually an illustrator, so I do cover design, cover illustrations, as well as book illustrations, and they are about interdimensional dragons, airship smugglers, elemental magic, and sword lesbians. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is a very, very strong pitch for anyone who hasn't already read it. I mean,
It was such a strong pitch, I just glitched afterwards. I'm so sorry.
it's okay. This glitch gives everybody a chance to go and buy it.
Exactly. When you said I go by Kerstin Espinosa Rosero and I also go by K.E. Rosero, I was like, is she subliminally telling us to go buy her books? That was amazing. Like, go buy K.E. Rosero. That is genius. Well, yeah, I
Totally
just
intentional.
you had me at interdimensional dragons. Like you didn't need to say more, and you did, and it kept getting better. It's amazing.
No,
And then at the end, I just
layer.
glitched.
Yeah.
Well, you were just giving us and everybody watching just time to process all of those things. So, I think it was a good time, well-timed glitch.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Out of all of those things, what I want to know is what came first, right? What was the first thing that you were like, I'm going to write the book about this? Because there's like, you could have picked all of those, right?
Interdimensional dragons. I mean, like it was a drawing I did actually, and I thought that I wanted to make a story out of it because I was an illustrator first. I actually had a lot of trouble sort of communicating with words as I do now. So I kind of decided to make it sort of a exercise in communicating via words. So I had this drawing of interdimensional dragons and I created a story out of it. So the dragons came first and then the sword lesbians. And then like more sword lesbians, and then I threw in some elemental magic. And then a couple more sword lesbians. So I think that was the order of events.
I love it.
And then the airship smugglers were just fun.
And then that just wasn't enough, so you just had to chuck some airship smugglers in there just to really set it off.
In case people forgot it was fantasy, so
yeah. I mean, I often forget with my interdimensional dragons. I'm like, oh, I don't know, is this a fantasy book? Is it non-fiction? I get confused very easily.
Non-fiction, like you didn't go for like any of the other genres, go straight in for non-fiction.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
I
like
mean,
self-help.
yeah, I'd say I would read that self-help book. Manifesting your, I don't know, your inner self through interdimensional dragons. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you start the book as a human, and by the end, you wake up in another dimension as a dragon. That would be the greatest self-help book in the world, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're working on next, Kirsten? Because like that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I do go by K.E. Rosero, so but you're onto something.
Yeah.
That's and I it's very interesting that you say illustration sort of came first for that one, and that's the first. You've got another book in, so you've got Burn Red Skies, and there's a second book after that in the same kind of. Did you keep sort of doing the illustrations, or was it did you just write all the way through, or are there sort of illustrations that you've done it at the same time? I'm intrigued by your process.
Well, I did all the illustrations first, and then I wrote a book around that. So that was Burn Red Skies. And after that, I ran out of material, visual material. So I just kind of kept writing and hoping for the best. So the funny thing is, like, we're all writers, we're all artists, we're all completely convinced our artwork is crap. I mean, let's be honest. Like, there are just days where I'm just like, can I even talk or write or draw? So it didn't connect to me that I could illustrate and write and connect those two. So I've always been treating them as two separate things, like completely separate. So it didn't even occur to me that I could illustrate for Burn Red Skies or Rise Red Kingdom. So after I wrote Burn Red Skies based on my illustrations, I just stopped illustrating. I don't know why. For the series, I mean. So to answer your question, I didn't keep illustrating with the series. I just wrote and kind of hoped for the best.
I think we all do that.
Yeah, I know. Like, I saw like this kinship in both of your eyes. So.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that I love about it is how your creativity over this story kind of bleeds from one form into another. I kind of love that, and it's so useful for creative people because some writers, the only outlet for the creativity is words on the page, but when you've got another form of creativity in your sort of tool belt, it's so cool to know that that's where all of this sort of stemmed from. And to me that just is so reassuring and uplifting, because it's like, I think sometimes people feel like, oh, well, if I'm not working on my writing and I'm working on this other art form, it's like I'm wasting time. But no, it all feeds together, doesn't it? All branches of creativity kind of bleed into one, which I kind of love that.
Yeah, like I really like it. Like I like to think of it as like we all, or not all, but many of us probably listen to like epic music while we're writing. And it keeps us inspired, right? So listening to a certain song, like for me currently it's Clair Obscur. I don't know if you guys know that game, but it's like the best soundtrack in the world for me. And every time I hear it, I get inspired to write, which then I have words on paper and I think, hey, this is cool. Then I get inspired to draw. So I think it does sort of, one inspires the other. They're just like separate segments in our brain that are just waiting to be activated. And at least for me, being an artist and illustrator sort of gave me a different way of seeing words. Not to say that my words are cohesive or in any way, or just like, but just like sort of the visual aspect of writing words. And I do see your point, Frasier, that they do kind of have to do with each other. Like one activates the other, but I like to think of it as sort of one inspiring the other.
Yeah, totally. It's like feeding it. It's like the whole thing is kind of view it all as like a tree, and these are all of the roots that dig into the soil of our imagination and kind of draw it all up into this one outlet that we all have, which is different forms of creativity, kind of different branches, but it's kind of like it's all the same tree, if you know what I mean. And I just love it. I just love it so much. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all anymore, but yeah, trees are good. That's basically it.
You heard it here first on Spotlight Indie exclusive. Yeah. Trees, thumbs up. I do. Trees are good. Yeah, But I think the creativity, it's interesting that it's sort of, you bounce off those two different forms as well. As you say, Frasier, it's also, I do think that even if you're not, you think you're wasting time on other stuff, but I feel like creativity is a big tree, and you feed it from different roots. I was going to go with well, but I thought no,
Trees
we'll
are good.
continue with tree. So I think that's really interesting that your illustration sort of inspires you to do the writing, and then you're kind of just bouncing backwards and forwards. So I think I guess people shouldn't necessarily. We're already getting to the advice segment, I guess, in that I would hope people might take from that maybe if they're worried about drawing and taking time away from stuff, actually it can be very inspiring to do if you do that, to then give you motivation to go and do the other bit that you maybe are falling away from.
What is your favorite things to illustrate? What are your favorite things to illustrate in your creativity tree? What do you like to what little leaves do you like to pluck?
After this talk, I'm just gonna plant a tree.
No, what are your go-tos when you pick up your art stuff? Do you have something in mind, or do you just start and things come out, or do you have like a thing that you start with every time, or what's your process?
Well, it's similar to writing. I just start and see what happens. But I think my favorite thing to draw fantasy creatures, like 100%, like dragons. Airship is not a fantasy creature, but it is like. Well, in some books, in some fantasy series, it is a fantasy creature, so it counts. But yeah, I like creatures. I like I think my least favorite might be landscapes, because people generally know what landscapes look like. So if I make a mistake, they'll probably see it right away. But with fantasy creatures, you could say like, hey, yeah, that creature has 3 eyes. Like that wasn't a mistake. Like, and I think it's very like it's more forgiving when it comes to like, it's like not necessarily mistakes, but just like creative licenses or whatever.
I do like that as the get out clause of just well, I don't think that's like historically accurate. Like, oh no, but dragons aren't either, so shut up. Like,
I know, like how dare you. Also, have you seen like the newest generation of Pokemon? Like they just keep coming out like with so much bizarre, and it's all awesome. Like I still play Pogo.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I would love to evolve into a Pokemon. It would just be great. If one day I was just like, that's it, I'm done. And then like, vroom, I would love that. Like 3 eyes, tentacles, the works. Like, I want it. When you look at, when you go back and you look at the illustration that kicked your series off, do you feel differently about it now that you have books about that piece of artwork?
I do. And it's quite similar to writing a book, I would say. And like, you start out, you're really excited, you make this cool thing, or something you think is cool, but then you look back years later and you're just like, oh my goodness, like what is this, right? Like, and for me it's the same as an artist. I see like this drawing, like, which I really love, but then I look back on it like years later after having practiced the craft for a while, and I'm thinking, so oh no, like like I love it, but it belongs in this time. like so I think like you gain a new appreciation for the stuff that you wrote or you drew earlier, but then you also think like, yeah, okay, it belongs in its time, like sort of, and that's kind of how I view the drawings as well.
Yeah, it's difficult, I think, sometimes to hold the two ideas in your head when you look at old stuff. Like you're like, well, that's the best I could do at the time, and then you like, it can be difficult not to be like, that's terrible, but you actually have to think, I've just improved since then, like, and appreciate the gap of skill that you've got, in between those two times. You have to sort of think of it as no, I'm better now, which is a good thing. That is still a good thing. I'm just better now, as you say. It's of its time. I like that.
Yeah, and I mean also like keep in mind that we're like notoriously self-critical people, like the writer author artist community, so that on top of that.
Oh, my imposter syndrome has imposter syndrome. It's We're never gonna look at our stuff and be like, oh, that's great. Like, we're always, but I kind of feel like my little one has taught me a lot of lessons in this, because when I look back at baby pictures, I don't ever go like, oh yeah, you didn't know how to poop then. Like, you didn't know how to eat then. Like, you just look and go, oh, wasn't that cute? I feel like I need to adopt the same attitude towards my my previous books and just be like, oh,
Sorry, this went in a
Frasier.
direction I didn't expect. Like,
Totally, yeah.
So you have to look back at your old books and be like, well, that was a toddler book.
Exactly,
like-
right?
Yeah.
That was
you didn't know
baby
how to
me.
poop
That
back
was
then.
baby. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to poop with my writing back then. I
Yeah,
was like,
it wasn't I wasn't using my creativity. It was like a sapling at that point.
exactly, was a
Yeah.
seed. Yeah, and now look at it. It's like dying in the cold.
Tree.
Just think we've got two different like sides of this non-fiction book that's coming out. We've got, like, one is your inner interdimensional dragon, and then how to feed your creativity.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good.
How to learn to poop as a writer.
Excuse me while I just write
sorry.
the timestamp down so I can put that on.
That's
on
the
social
clickbait.
media.
That's the clickbait.
I mean,
that's
to
how
be
writers
fair, like
poop.
to be fair with like your first books or first drafts, I mean, I don't think anyone needs to teach us how to poop. It's just all
Yes.
so.
Yeah. I'm telling you, if we just put like a little speech bubble coming out and just the tree and the poop emoji, people are going to be like, what's this about? It's actually quite, it's giving us confidence, right? Like, we can look back at our stuff and it's all good. It's all feeding us,
Yeah. I mean, that's it. Once you learn to poop, that's the manure that feeds the tree.
And trees are good.
And trees are good. Trees are good. Yeah. See, and you were worried about being professional, Kerstin. Come on.
You know, it could be part of my already long name, like Kerstin Espinosa Professional Rosero. So, what's another line or two?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's pull this back to the scheduled comments that we were supposed to be making, which we've got a little game for this week's interview, which is what in the world. So we're going to ask you 3 questions about your fictional world, so we can explore that and what could be fun about bringing things in or out of that world, including yourself. So for our first question, if you could bring one thing from your fictional world into ours, what would it be and why?
Okay, so I mentioned before I glitched a few points in my book. So that was interdimensional dragons, sword lesbians, airships, and elemental magic. So the most logical would be interdimensional dragons, because it's the nature of the dragons that they're pulled from one world into another via summoner. But I don't actually want that. They could stay in their world, which brings me to sword lesbians. I'm still kind of hopeful that there are sword lesbians in our time and in our world, so it would be not super useful to bring them from my book. So I'm going to go with airships. I would like to bring back airship back, like they were ever there to begin with. I would like to introduce airships into this world. The question is, Alex, will they be replacing current air transport, or will they be competing with like United Airlines or something?
I feel like God, we talked about. I know I talked about this in a Be Gone episode recently that somebody wanted to make capitalism be gone, and one of the things I've been sort of looking into is solar punk as a genre, and I promise this is relevant. One of the elements of that is sort of a anti-capitalist kind of aesthetic and vibes. So one of the things about that is like slow travel and being more intentional and sort of. So I can see it being, if we move towards a more like slow travel rather than just getting somewhere as quickly as you can, and it's presumably a little bit more efficient fuel-wise, etc. And you can just have a lovely airship take you on holiday for like a couple of days, and that's just part of this. So I guess it's like a cruise ship, right? So I can see it being part of our world.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's time to like reintroduce adventure, also for adventure's sake, right? I feel like every time if we go somewhere new, the first thing a lot of us like the first thing we do is Google what there is to do there, right? And then we Google how to get there, and then we Google how, where to eat, So by the time we get to this place we've never been before, we already have like the set itinerary, which I mean provides us with stability and safety. But I mean, there's not really a sense of adventure the way it was in the olden days. So by introducing, or why do I keep saying reintroducing? Like I feel like I'm exposing myself as a time traveler. By
Yeah, we're just like,
introducing.
yeah, it's like
Don't look at
reintroducing
me
like
like that,
wildlife.
Alex.
Yeah, no, it's just like we're reintroducing wildlife. Just like we're getting the airships back. They've gone extinct, but we're just, we'll bring them back. They're endangered at the moment.
Yeah, but like, if I'm like by introducing, I've never seen an airship before in real life. By introducing airships, like just having an adventure, not knowing what to expect because the airships in my book aren't exactly super functional. Like something's always breaking down. Like you're thrown together with a crew that you don't really know. You're kind of instant friends, sort of ragtag team there. And you're just doing it for adventure's sake. No expectations, no like time crunch. Like you don't have to be there at a certain time. You're not, gonna miss your reservation at this restaurant that you booked from abroad, that sort of thing. So, and airship smugglers and piracy.
I feel
Please don't
like
take that out of context. I don't actually like agree.
we need to reintroduce smugglers and piracy. Not the the thing that I'm thinking is that it would probably compete with airlines, but they would become like the budget air travel. So you'd have like Ryanair ships, and they would be sort of like you get on there and we don't know when you're going to land, but it's like a cheap ticket. So, and I feel like that would be the thing. Like if it's really budget, they don't go that high off the ground. You get a rubbish view like all the way. Like, but yeah, I feel like that's what would happen. I feel like there would definitely be a market for it, but more along sort of like the budget airlines,
So maybe
What
there'll
a
be, like,
depressing
brands.
thought.
Maybe
I
there'll
know,
be some
right?
budget, bright orange, easy airships. With say bright orange, like but what are they called? The what's all the air in an airship? I don't know the terminology of an airship. What's it called?
Like
the
an actual airship or like a fantasy?
yeah, like what? Like where the hot air stays. What's that called?
You
like
mean
in a zeppelin?
like
balloon,
the balloon?
Yeah, the
like
balloon.
the balloon
Is it
part
called
of
a
it.
balloon? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like a hot air balloon, right? It's
blimp.
like it holds it in the balloon bit, and
Yeah,
then
well,
the
just think like a bright orange balloon, going past really low because their budget. That's gonna. I mean,
I can predict actually. Like it's gonna start out great, right? Like all ideas do. Like it's gonna start out great. Like every airship's gonna be wonderful and adventurous, and then people start getting into the market, cutting costs, like head count or something. I'm not sure, but so I think if this really does take off, we just need to enjoy the first 5 years, like just take advantage of airship travel. But then
That's a
after
really
5
good
years,
point.
like
yeah,
after 5 years
get there when the
pirates
boom's there. Yeah, before there's too much litter in the skies. In terms of so here in the town that I live, there is a hot air balloon festival every summer, and sometimes, in fact, every time it's amazing, but sometimes it's more amazing because the weather allows them to go up high whereas when it's super windy, it completely they just like everything has to be grounded. They barely get up, and they always lift off and stuff, so it's always worth coming to visit the town to see it. But like you are so dependent upon good weather for it to make like a real service. So I feel like a lot of people would be complaining about having their flights cancelled and the customer service for this airship travel would be very, very sort of like every call would be, I'm terribly sorry, we have to rebook you when the weather's a bit bad. So I would want to travel in like the week of summer where everything is nice and still. I think that would be like the busiest time, and everything else, like you get budget tickets, like cheap tickets, because like you don't know if you're going to get there in February or not. That's how I see it going.
But then maybe that leads to there's going to be different. Although it is a travel industry, there's going to be in different geographical areas it's going to be more prominent because the weather's less shit. So, you know,
Oh, but what about this? What about this, right? What if instead of airships, okay, you brought in elemental magic, which then allowed you to control the weather? Then you could build your own airships and you would be able to pioneer this business, Kerstin. And that's what you need to make it happen.
But I mean, how much pressure would that be? Like in every airship, there's like one elemental master who's just responsible for the ship not crashing.
Yeah, imagine going to that college, like getting that qualification. That would be great. Like that makes pilots look so lame. Like
Just
these
the
people
branch of
flying
magic
planes.
school that deals with customer service. Like, just the worst.
I mean, you could just get very aggressive with that and just like, well, if they get too rude, just burn them. That's
Yeah, exactly. The phone just goes, yeah. That'd be great.
Okay, well,
I think
that's
you've
good.
I
Go on.
think that's what they call wish fantasy, Frasier.
Yeah.
You
As
trailed off
someone who-
quite philosophically there.
Yeah. No, I'm in my own little fantasy world. I've worked in customer service for way too long. So I'm reliving like the last 20 years of my life, but totally differently. So I might be here a while, guys. Like
Just burn them. Like, all right. Like, I think we know who's worked in customer service before.
no, hey, you know, it's no, I feel like if you brought airships in without the elemental magic, it would be a very sort of seasonally dependent thing. Whereas, you know, bring the magic in first, Kerstin. That's all I'm saying. I want the same thing as you. Okay, that's all I want.
This feels like a corporate meeting. Like,
We're on The Apprentice right now. You don't realize.
yeah. That's fair.
Okay, so we've talked about one thing which we've already skewed away from. We could bring forward, bring into the real world from your fictional world. So if you could send one thing from the real world into your fictional world, what would it be and why?
WhatsApp. Like, like I think maybe you can also relate, you know, being sci-fi fantasy writers. Maybe less so with sci-fi because maybe this technology is already part of, you know, in the grand universe of your books. But a lot of the time, bad decisions are made because communication is so slow. Like, I got super hyper fixated on something in Burn Red Skies, and it's like, how do you deliver messages? And I got really like fixated on falcons. It was a terrible phase in my life where I was just like super obsessed with falcons. So there was like a hierarchy system in the postal service. Like you got your peregrines at the top, at the bottom you got your common kestrels, and I don't know, this consumed me for like weeks, like just developing this postal service in this book. But none of them are fast enough, right? Like how fast can a peregrine actually fly if they're in another country? It sounds like I'm dissing peregrines. Like it's really not their fault, but I was talking.
Suck it, falcons. Yeah.
Like, why am I being so mean? Like, but just like instant communication, like fast communication. I think it would have solved like every conflict in this book.
I love that you were writing fantasy and you brought in interdimensional dragons, but you didn't think to speed up the falcons. That would be like, it's like, no, I've got all these facts about falcons. They are true to life. Like,
it was a dark time in my life, like researching all these falcons, and now I'm just dissing them. I feel bad.
I think that's great.
If you brought this instant messaging into your fictional world, would that we've just been talking about customer service, would that I don't want, like, I don't know, some sort of people to start leaving reviews for Interdimensional Dragons or the sword lesbians, like 1 out of 5 terrible sword lesbians. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
is that the first thing people would use WhatsApp for, to like leave reviews for sword
I'm just,
lesbians?
extrapolating outwards. I don't know. We were talking about customer service, so I don't want, these smugglers and pirates. I don't want people to like texting and like say, "Oh no, this airship was rubbish."
No. What would happen is there would be the social justice outrage over what's happening to the unemployed falcons. Is what would happen. So everyone on WhatsApp would be like hashtag free, like free falcons or that kind of thing, or like falcons have the right to work. Right? That's what it would happen. That's what it would be, right?
Peregrines.
Well, those falcons just have to learn how to run WhatsApp. Gotta evolve with the times.
Yeah.
Then the kestrels finally have their day. They're like, look, where are you now, peregrines?
That's like their hidden talent. They're like, now's our time to shine.
Yeah. And they would be really good because like if their beaks worked on the phone, the way that their beaks can go rapid, they could probably text real fast on WhatsApp, right? That would work.
Just also imagining the voice notes you're going to get from these kestrels.
Just super sounds of disapproval.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay,
You know what they would do? They would go and build their nests out of phones, wouldn't they? They'd swoop down and steal everybody's WhatsApp, and then they would like build their nests out of it and be like, "That's it. We're not." Yeah, they'd use the residual heat from the screen to incubate their eggs, wouldn't they?
I think WhatsApp and instant messaging would solve every problem in the world of my book, but I didn't know that it would create such a big problem that like it would end wars and like literal all these conflicts between elemental regions, but I didn't know that it would cause massive unemployment and like just animal rights activists just
Exactly, especially if you take away the airships. I mean, I guess that they could probably get jobs sort of like flying. You get enough of them together, they could probably fly the base of an airship over somewhere. But
that's
like
a super budget airline.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, well, it depends who you go with. If you go with Peregrine, you get in there fast. But like that would be a great name for an airline, by the way. Like Peregrine.
It would.
Yeah. You should maybe write book 3, and that should be the big conflict, is that you introduce instant messaging. It would be fascinating. What a way to tie the series up.
I know. It's like, who cares about interdimensional dragons? Like, people are just sending each other memes.
Well, with the WhatsApp, like, could you just start texting the dragons in the other dimension?
I don't think the dragons would be the target demographic, to be honest.
I mean, to be fair, when we started talking about this, I didn't think the kestrels would either. But yeah, here we are.
Think of the kestrels, Alex. The kestrels.
Yeah, sorry.
Clearly, I didn't, and that's why we're in this mess to begin with.
Oh. Okay, well, moving on from that madness to a different kind of madness altogether. So we've got a final question in this little game. If you traveled through the Spotlight Indie portal and found yourself living in the world of your book, how do you rate your chances of survival, and what's the first thing you would want to do?
All right, so we talked about elemental magic. My book world is divided into regions based on elemental magic. So you got fire, you've got water, you've got ice, and you've got thunder. So the books, they concentrate on the fire realm. So if I would assume I'd be born in the fire realm. There are folks who are born with fire elemental magic and folks who aren't, like their skills are dormant. So let's roll a 20 and say that I was born with like fire elemental magic. I think like what I would do, like I wouldn't even do anything cool with it. I think I would use it to like heat my apartment, like to like, boil my water for tea. Like I think I could be like a freelance firecaster, to be fair. Like just go around, like, gas is expensive. Just like heating people's apartments. Like, like here's some fire for your warm food, like sort of thing. Or even like emigrate to the Icelands and like heat people's apartments there. Actually, that sounds like a great life. I think I'd like to switch. Like I'd like to go through this this portal. The problem is if I don't cast elemental magic, I think my I guess I'd survive, but it would just it would, I don't know, it's like in like Warring Nations and being just someone who doesn't cast fire elemental magic in the Firelands. I think like even if I could cast it, my chances of survival would probably be like a 23.6%. And without fire, it would probably be like a 7%.
That's very specific. I like it. There's clearly a lot of thought gone in. I also quite like the idea of that, like you being a fire elemental like caster and just going to the Icelands and like, you know, helping out people with the cost of living crisis, and just like there's a cozy like novella there with just, you know, a fire mage just be like, no, it's okay, I'll just help you out. I'll boil your tea.
What I want to know though is that if you do that, does the ice melt, and then what happens with the water? Sort of like elemental people, because the ice would melt into water, and then it would be, wouldn't that be problematic? Like, wouldn't they say that was like appropriation?
I mean, I don't think it would go into appropriation territory, but I also like don't think that the Iceland's folks live in igloos. Like it's just like normal, like normal stone. Like it's not actually built of ice.
You've been watching too much Frozen.
Hey, I hear the word Iceland. All I'm thinking is the freezer section and ice cream,
like,
right? And all the things that you buy at Iceland, right? Which is a chain of like, you know, like frozen goods here. So I'm Magnum ice cream. I would love to live in Iceland. That would be great. I just need a microwave. No?
Like I don't think the demand for freelance fire casting would be high in that case, to be fair. But
hey, it would if you were working in customer service. That's all I'm saying.
I think we need to like turn this interview around. So like maybe like Frasier, would you like to share something about?
I am so happy listening to this, Kerstin. Honestly, I'm just like, I love it. I love it. I love that you give yourself a 23.6%, but you don't even give yourself a 7.1. You're just like 7%, straight up 7. Like... Not even like a 7.099, just like 7 on the nose, right? I love that. That's so good.
I'm not kidding.
I'd give you
myself.
a 7.1. I'd 100%.
I mean, I got my D20. Hold on, let's settle this once and for all.
They will both roll. Right. Hang on.
All right,
you roll.
Like, skill check. A 4. Like, what is it with 4s today?
I got a 7, so I rolled higher. So I think 7.1.
7.
7.
You stole my abilities.
I know, right? Well, maybe I should steal the interview. Maybe that's what the dice is telling me. So basically, what I would do is no. No, I think that's a great answer, Kerstin. I think it's great. I would have 0% chance of survival in your world. Even with all of the magic, even with everything, I wouldn't survive. I would be terrible.
I mean, there is no customer service in this world.
Yeah, I'd be sort of like talking to the falcons a lot, and probably get I'd probably be killed by inciting conspiracy theories among the falcons is what would happen.
Are you the Free Falcon movement guy?
I am. I am the Free Falcon movement. The Kestrels are coming, Kristen. The Kestrels are coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop them birdies, you know. But honestly, I think that you fill your world with more peril than I am equipped to face. Let's put it that way. So, yeah.
But you could also be a freelance elemental caster. Like,
still wouldn't happen, right? So you are definitely winning on the percentage stakes of would you survive? 100%. Yeah, I love it.
You rolled the 7, not me. I rolled a 4. That's statistically, almost impossible. It's like my third.
Didn't you roll a 4 earlier? Like just before we went on, started recording. That was
I did a charm roll. It was a 4.
Wow. You've got a loaded dice. That's what you've got. That's amazing.
That's why I'm just letting this, go on until we do the Falcon. It's fine. Just when we, when this comes on online, you're going to hashtag free the Falcons. Free Falcons is going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's like the two taglines are trees are good and the kestrels are coming. So
Yeah.
it went
and
into like horror movie territory.
It's even without the, how to poop like a writer. So
That's nonfiction.
That's awesome.
well, on that note, I feel like that's probably a kind of a good one to wrap up this week's chat with you. So it's going to sound
We are
disingenuous, but thank you so much
Mm.
for joining us. It's been a very pleasure to have you. As much as the conversation has wound in directions I wasn't expecting, it's been a real pleasure. So as we wrap this week's episode up, you're going to be with us again next week. So everyone, make sure you join us for that. So would you just to wrap up, would you like to tell everybody where they can sort of find your books?
Well, I kind of took a hiatus on social media and I'm trying to come back slowly. So actually my Insta tag is KE Rosero. So you can find me there. Send me a DM if you play Pokemon Go. I just went straight for Pokemon Go. I'm so sorry. I know this was like about writing and fantasy and stuff, but yeah, always looking for friends. But you can find my art and my books at on my Insta.
Perfect. In that sense, like a good place to find you, and never apologize for being genuine and having the joy of Pokemon. I'm obviously all about that life.
Favorite
Frasier,
Pokemon, Alex and Frasier.
Poliwag, and its evolutions is probably it.
Snorlax is the Pokemon of my heart. He is
Psyduck.
powerful while sleeping. That is my dream.
That is the dream.
We see ourselves in our favorite Pokemon because mine is Psyduck. just this confused, like chaotic duck with a chronic migraine.
I feel like Psyduck would rock those headphones as well. I feel like
think
that would.
so.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Frasier, where can people find you and your books?
You can find me everywhere at freefalcons.net. No, I'm only kidding. You can find me at FrasierArmitage.com. You can find me on the Fanfire Addict Book Club. You can find me on Spotlight Indie. I'm at Frasier Armitage, mainly on Insta these days. So come find me there. And yeah, thank you for... I'm assuming Alex has cut me entirely out of this episode. So thank you for showing an interest, even though you'll have heard nothing from me. I appreciate it.
No, we need you to start the social movement. You're going to be, front and center in this whole episode.
It's like if I put enough references into like the last, the bit that you can't cut, I'll have to leave the rest of it in. Yeah.
Just really test my editing chops.
Just start talking when Alex is talking so you can't cut it out.
I'll just, you'll watch this entire episode with me going, and then stopping, right?
Well, let's see if I can, find a freeze frame of you and then just see if I can make that, just edit it over the top of you for the whole thing. You just look like you're nodding or something.
Yeah.
Just that.
I'll give you enough nods, don't worry. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for having me too. For taking the time.
Absolute pleasure to have you. So please check out Kerstin's books, and you can find us on spotlightindie.co.uk. We've just done a big indie weekend, so there are loads of panels on that. There was loads of live stuff going along, so go and check that out. It's just chock full of loads of fun and amazing information. And we've also got an in-person event for the first time in a little while this year. So in May, we're going to be in Shrewsbury. So there's lots of information all over our socials and our website, but it's the 23rd of May in Shrewsbury at Flaxmill Maltings. Is that it?
Yeah. Flaxmill Maltings in Shrewsbury.
At Flaxmill Maltings in Shrewsbury. So come and check us out. Again, we're going to have loads and loads of panels, traders, and it's going to be so good. The first in-person event we did that kicked off Spotlight Indie was absolutely fantastic, and we're going to do another one, and it's going to be even better and even bigger. So just generally come and check us all out. Check out all the stuff that Spotlight Indie is doing. We would love to have you. So thank you again to Kerstin for joining us, and we will see you next week. And we will see you all next week as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Be a tree, guys.
Falcons.